Hello, I'm Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another Star Wars book review. Today we're going to be doing Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. Before we get into the review, which might have some minor spoilers in it, please give the video a thumbs up, like the channel, all that good stuff. The book came out in September of 2020, of course, written by, I was going to say directed, but written by Timothy Zahn, and I, as always, listen to the audio version, which of course is voiced by Mark Thompson. This time we're starting off a new Thrawn trilogy. Timothy Zahn and Thrawn love their trilogies. We had the original Disney trilogy, which focused on Thrawn's time with the Empire. It was Thrawn Alliances, and Thrawn Treason. Now we're with Thrawn Ascendancy, that trilogy. We're going back to Thrawn's time into the with the Chiss Ascendancy, so a prequel up to his events of the first trilogy they've already written. And with Chaos Rising, we get it's a really good book. It's as always with Timothy Zahn, there's always a high level of just quality. And with the Thrawn character, who he obviously handles a lot, it's just an iconic Star Wars character that there's always a lot of interesting things to learn about. This time we're learning a lot about the Chiss Ascendancy, and we're going deep into their culture, their worlds, their neighbors, their political dynamics, their cultural dynamics, the families, just everything you could possibly want to know about the Chiss. And in some respects, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars book, because it is the Chiss are outside of the normal galaxy. They're kind of in their own bubble, and so it just feels like, I don't want to say a generic sci-fi book, but it feels like a more not just another sci-fi book that's not necessarily associated with Star Wars, other than one little part where he has a connection to one of his other books have already happened. But overall, it's just about Thrawn, the cadet, who, if you know anything about the character, is this brilliant military tactician that uses art to understand society and is able to point out weaknesses in those he's facing. His weakness, as has always been, and it was hammered home in the Thrawn trilogy, and was hammered home a lot here too, maybe a little too much, was his inability to understand political dynamics in political situations. And so that is definitely, I think he should, I don't think if he is not actually weak to the political things that are going on, which he says he is, they don't do a good job of just, because to me, Thrawn's probably just observing everything that's going on. But he straight up says he has a tough time understanding politics. But we go into his, not his mind. The first Thrawn books were much more his internal dialogue about what was going on. This is much more how all of the different Chiss view him. There's basically they have a very unique family system where there's these 9 ruling families that you can be adopted into, and they have rivalries and traditions, and they're called the aristocra. And basically they kind of decide a lot of the political ideologies of or political decisions that are going on. But there's this weird bend between the military and them where it's kind of separate. And you also have, again, their adoptive aspects of what's going on. And just, it's a fascinating culture. One of the really cool parts was we learn about their planet, their home planet, and basically there is a main city that is essentially empty and is just there for show for outsiders, and the actual real families live in these giant ice caves below. So just that was interesting. Also, they mentioned that the Chiss at one point had become involved in the Sith and Jedi Wars back in the day. Apparently that's a connection to the Old Republic video game, which I've never played, but maybe we'll explore that more in literature, which would be excellent. But overall, the book kind of goes through 2 different stories. This, which is already a prequel, and a flashback to a younger Thrawn when he was basically a captain or a cadet early on, and some failings he had. I wish there was a little bit more there, and with the memories and the flashbacks. because it didn't seem to me like a huge failure that it had occurred to him. But it's him learning this new enemy and trying to work within the boundaries of the Chiss Ascendancy, who they're very, I don't want to say non-confrontational, they're very isolationist in some respects. They don't want to become involved in any political wranglings of other systems. They don't believe in preemptive strikes. And so he's kind of working in their dynamics to try and stop Yiv the Benevolent, who is the heel for the book. And he's like encircling the Chiss with taking over different systems, either by force or his charm, I guess would be the best way to put it. But there is a lack of tension in the book in some respects, just because it is a prequel. And I would say that I would have liked some more time with Yiv the Benevolent. There's a great scene in the book where the two of them are kind of gauging each other, sizing each other up, and that was excellent. But I would have liked more time with Yiv, and it's like all the other Thrawn books. Sometimes they become a little one note where it's like, Thrawn's great. Thrawn's great. They just keep repeating that over again. Everyone keeps saying that he's great, and he doesn't know anything about politics, and he's great, and he knows things about art. And they sometimes tell a little bit more than show, but overall, I thought it was a great book, and it gave you a deep dive into a culture that we haven't really seen. At least I haven't. I know it's been mentioned a lot more in Legends, and so a deep dive into that. And another great book with Thrawn. The second in this trilogy, which is called Greater Good, is coming out in April 2021. So we'll definitely be picking that up and reviewing that for the channel. But I think this might be the weakest of the new Thrawn books. I like that we were talking about different things, but I think I like the 3 books of the Thrawn trilogy more than this one. If I'm thinking the Thrawn, the one just entitled Thrawn, the first one that they did was the best by far, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts. Did you like this book? How would it compare to the other ones? And are you excited for the Greater Good? So happy to talk Star Wars with everyone, and we'll see you here next time on a podcast named Tim.